many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Hey, we had that great opening that Mr. T did, kind of that old-timey music. Well, that kind of reminded me of an old-timey politician we're going to discuss here, someone who is nothing but trouble for us, especially in this new world we're in. This, you know, you could almost say we're in the new world order because it ain't what we had in the past. It ain't the old world order. It's not that old-fashioned, old-time constitution. No, it's special emergency rules and emergency powers. Well, it's interesting, though. You've heard the expression, going back to the well, right? When you run out of new ideas, you go back to the well and you get some more. If your new ideas fail, well, you go back to the well and get things that have worked for you in the past. Let's see, what's another great expression? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah. Maybe you can't get an old dog to quit crapping on the floor. Maybe that should be the expression. Well, folks, you've heard of Joe Biden, and he's not the old dog I'm talking about, even though he's crapped on the Queen, the royal family, and the Pope. What a great guy. Mr. Depends himself. So who are we talking about? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. No, let's get to that right now. It is our good buddy, Chuck Schumer. Now, Chuck Schumer has had a response because Biden, the most popular president of all time, popularly elected, is failing and failing miserably, even with the most popular president of all time. I love saying that because it's just so true. I love using satire, folks. It just kind of grinds it in. Now, Biden has the Senate, which is run by Chuck Schumer. They have a majority there. Plus, they have Kamala Harris as a backup if it's that tight. And then they have Nancy Pants Pelosi in the House. It's all Democrats, folks, with all Democrat bureaucracy as well. I love to throw in the bureaucracy. That's the IRS, the DHS, the FBI, the CIA, and you name every alphabet soup agency. But in order to pass legislation, you need the House and the Senate and the presidency. Great system. Now, again, the most popular president of all time, Congress, both houses, they can't pass his Build Back Better program. They can't get the voter reform that they wanted, which was not reform. They couldn't even have enough votes to, of course, repeal the filibuster rule. They don't have enough votes because their ideas are so bad, so cancerous, so, shall we say, disease-ridden. Their ideas, their legislation. In other words, what they're doing is so anti-constitutional, so anti-American, to give it a nice name like Build Back Better and voter reform. I mean, if those were great ideas, you'd see them on hats, like, you know, the Make America Great Again hats. You see any Build Back Better hats? Have you seen any I Love Voter Reform? No, you won't see those hats. But you will continue to see Make America Great Again because it's not a piece of legislation. It's an idea. That's right, Joe Biden and his idea. It's kind of like, you know, Antifa is an idea, but they're not terrorists. But Make America Great, that's terrorism. Unbelievable. So all of these ideas have failed. They've gone to the well and drawn up some great socialist ideas out of there. Bucket loads of social spending. They looked at the infrastructure and they're like, yes, let's say we need to rebuild the infrastructure and then relabel social spending programs, welfare, as infrastructure in order to get people to accept it. All of this failed. So what does Chuck Schumer do? After all else fails, this old dog who has crapped on the floor enough. I mean, my introduction to politics, folks, in the early 90s, my introduction to politics included Chuck Schumer, who was then just a lowly congressman from New York. Mr. Mealy Mouth anti-gunner himself, Chuck Schumer, started when the Clintons just started their presidency, running a soup cooler, pushing himself into the limelight. Well, his leadership has been a failure in the Senate, but that doesn't matter, right? He's gone back to the well to dredge up some old stuff that he's been doing his entire career. A hallmark of Democrat behavior has been to push for the destruction of the Second Amendment. We don't need this at this time. This is not going to help America unless, no, it's not build back the Second Amendment better. Now he wants to build back anti-gunning, right? Gun control. Now this kills me. These people can't work during certain times of the year, but other times of the year, they'll work on Sundays. I'm reading here, it says on Sunday, Senator Chuck Schumer pushed for the federal government to allocate $1.5 billion to fund new gun control actions by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. That would be the ATF. Right. Interesting, huh? That he's going to propose this on Sunday. Who works on Sunday? Well, some would argue Democrats don't work at all except to destroy our country. I guess that is now a 7-day-a-week affair. Right. The New York Post has reported that Schumer wants to use funds to get the ATF behind the Interstate Task Force on Illegal Guns. This is great. How about international human smuggling, human trafficking? How about instead of worrying about illegal guns, which don't seem to exist unless you're Amish, they're going after the Amish on that. There's no illegal guns in Chicago, but let's go after the Amish. Literally, folks, the Amish. They want illegal gun running. How about there's an entire border on the southern United States that touches Mexico that has illegal activity, illegal entry, illegal guns, illegal drugs, illegal people. Hello, federal government, why don't you spend money down there and close the border? Schumer made a comment. Here it is, quote, "The ABCs of beating back the scourge of gun violence depends on 3 federal letters, A, T, and F." Isn't that amazing? Right? Why is crime up? If there is a scourge of gun violence, where is it coming from? Could it be places like Chicago, New York City? Could it be that where Democrat mayors and idiots have been removing police, defunding police, discouraging police from enforcing the law? See, they want to take that away, create massive gun violence, then use national legislation to try and change things. They want to federalize, top-down, centralized, manage guns. And Schumer has gone right back to his old ways. This is Chuck Schumer's hallmark. This is what this man does. It's all he does. And to top that off, folks, I want you to be aware, right? And we'll get to the crux of the matter in just a moment. The ATF, the same A, T, and F that Chuck Schumer just quoted, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, admits to having a secret database of nearly 1 billion gun records. It's got a database of gun records. Now, if there are only, and I've heard, notations, 500 million to 700 million guns in the United States. There's only 350 million Americans tops, but we're supposed to believe there's 1 billion guns. I didn't know the number was that big. So what do these gun records include in addition to the 500 to 700 million guns out there? Could it be ammunition sales? Could it be your military records? Could the secret database have your tax records in there? Could they have political records? See, this is secret database of gun records. So you take a gun owner, you find out what guns they have, what ammunition they have, what their tax status is. Are they claiming everything out? Who, political affiliation. Now we're talking, right? Now you can see how you can take a much smaller database and add more and more records to it. Very noteworthy stuff at a time when we have a see something, say something, a snitch on your neighbor mentality that's been fostered by the Karen network that's been developed. These are very dangerous times. Very dangerous times. And the Attorney General, Department of Justice, is moving forward with empowering the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms idiots. And Chuck Schumer in the Senate says, well, I guess if we can't pass any other legislation, we can go after guns again. And they're doing it. They're claiming that gun violence has occurred. Who has started that? Who's caused it? If you told people, hey, use your guns to protect yourselves, it's your right, a lot more of that would be going on, and a lot more criminals would be hiding. See, they never talk about the good that guns do, that firearms. A simple handgun, rifle, or shotgun. Yep, I love that shotgun, Joe Biden. But I'm not going to recommend doing anything, shall we say, dangerous that you suggested. Why didn't Joe Biden get a strike for suggesting you stand on your porch and fire a couple of rounds of shotgun blasts into the air? Anyways, don't want to dwell on that. But yeah, why doesn't the government keep statistics on crimes that have been prevented using a gun? Well, for the most part, people, if they use a gun, either brandishing it or even firing it, they're not going to tell the police because they would hate to be investigated and then prosecuted for defending themselves. So those numbers are very much skewed to the downside, and people won't report it. But it is incredibly important. How many people live their lives much more freely, feeling safe, knowing they're carrying protection, right? The great equalizer. Well, Chuck Schumer wants to take that away, but it's not just about self-preservation, folks. It's about the great threats we're facing now. Right? We have enemies, foreign and domestic. It's funny how the founding fathers of the nation didn't just say, take an oath to protect, preserve, defend the Constitution against all foreign enemies. They put in the word domestic, foreign and domestic. How did they know that 250 odd years ago? How did the framers know that? How did they know that the Second Amendment needed to be preserved, protected, and worded very simply, shall not be infringed? The right, it doesn't say the privilege, the right to both keep and bear arms. Bear means showing. To bear arms means brandishing, but they don't want to talk about that. Nope, that word can't be used, bearing them. They say, oh, that just means carrying it. But if you're carrying a weapon in the open and someone feels threatened, then they could claim that you're brandishing it. Right? The government is continuing to push, and up chuckles Schumer is back. He's gone back to the well, folks, gone back to what he knows best. Are you prepared? Keep an eye on this one, folks. I really think, happy fun days with Patriot Front and other things are coming. All Chuck Schumer has to say to the ATF and FBI is, we need a mass shooting to make my point all the more clear. They're failing at everything else, folks, but they sure love those big fat black swans to come down and crap all over us. Chance favors the prepared mind. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. Of course, that means a self-defense with your plan. Go to thepreparedmind.club. CLUB. Thepreparedmind.club is your store for getting ammunition, for arranging to get those rascally firearms. We don't sell them, but we can give you links to good sources. Also, commando chow, solar power, body armor, right? Virtual private network to protect your computer. We try and make everything available. Communications gear, long-term food storage, everything. Water. Get your Berkey water filter, folks. Prices are going nuts because of the shortages that have been created by Biden's policies for the last year. Get prepared. Godspeed to you all. Semper Fi. And I'll be back soon.